So we continue with the Daggerfall Dungeon related information, really. What I want to do, well, mainly for my own benefit, but of course the law of YouTube is if you're doing anything then you should take a video of it just in case, is figuring out once and for all exactly how these obscure switches, handles, trapdoors and levers, what exactly do they do? Is it possible even to know for sure? So I'm going to try and identify individual scenarios which presumably are would sum up to be useful information. So I'm continuing in the dungeon that I was in last time, because it has 4 internal blocks. It's quite big, and we're immediately presented with well, there's a lever here which in this case I think operates this little cover. Let's just check that. Yep. So you need to do that if you want to drop down safely. But that's a fairly nondescript thing. It's not particularly important. What is more interesting, and well, in fact here I've already opened it. Let's take a look on the map. What we have here is, because on the map it renders closed, and I think this will be the setup. You may not have an entrance, but essentially you have this slope comes up, you have a door at the end, and then you have this T-shaped shape of corridor, and at the end there's a hole, there you can see, and at the bottom is a trap door. Of course normally this will be closed, and hidden down in there is a possible quest target spawn point. Now as we can see here, the trapdoor is up. So the question is how do you open the trapdoor? The controlling switch in this particular scenario is not that close. It's a bit obscure, but I think it is fairly simple once you know how, as with most things in life. So if we just make our way down the T shape, and there'll be a path which leads down, and we have to go down quite some way. There'll be a lower level area, but that's of no use. Now so this is the door that we're interested in. We take a left, go through another doorway, we'll find another hole. Is this correct? Yeah. And you just drop down. Now you'll come into this passage. It's a very short corridor with a door immediately to the right. As you can see, there's the door. However, this section is one of the infamous you will die if you enter this space. If I just drop a save here. So we're safe. We're safe here. We can go into this room without any problem, but then if we go past the doorway, there you go. You very quickly start to take damage, and quite a lot of damage in fact. So you want to avoid that. You want to come into this room, and this room can have any kind of decoration in it, but what it will also have in it is this skull on the wall. this switch activates the trapdoor. I'm pretty sure that when you come into the dungeon, the skull is at the top and the trapdoor is closed. So because I reloaded, I think I've confused it somewhat. So you just come back. You have to climb up here. Go back to the main passage, circle back up to the top. Go down the T-shape, turn right, and we can see that the trapdoor is up. So drop down again. There'll normally be a creature here on guard. This door is will be locked. You can smash it open, and then as you can see, there'll be another monster inside, and it could be a quest target that you have to kill, or it could be a treasure item that you need is there, and then that's it. Interestingly, this dungeon is quite handy because it has another dungeon block which is very similar. You can see here that the entrance room, this small room with the beams across, is repeated here. If we have a look at this other block, you can see again we have a room here. I think there's even a switch. Yeah, there's a switch here which does a little minor. I don't know what it does, to be honest. That'll be one for later, but it has the same T-shaped corridor. As you can see, there's another trapdoor. Well, let's teleport over to this one, because this is not, although the top section is exactly the same, or pretty similar, the location of the switch is not. So I'm going to get edit now, and then we're going to travel over and check out how to solve this variation on a theme. Okay, so this is the alternative dungeon block. In this scenario, let's see if the trapdoor is open. Okay, so this time the trapdoor is closed. So from this point, pretty much the same. You go down the slope, you wander around, you ignore the next level down, you keep going down. There'll be a room here just around the corner. You turn left. In this scenario, there may always be a red brick wall there. I'm sure I've seen that before, but anyway. What you're looking for is the similar thing that we did last time of dropping down, and we'll notice that we are in a very small corridor with a door to the right. So again, this is the equivalent of the damaging room, and there's a little decoration this time. This section also is damaging, so this looks like it's fairly constant. As soon as you go past this door, you're going to take some serious damage. But anyway, so you come in here now. This is the room where last time the switch on the wall was here, but as we can see, there's nothing here. So where do we go? We leave through this door. Is this a secret door? No. You leave through the normal door, and then you have this little zigzag passageway. Well, there's something alive, which is a shame because it did some damage. So then, it's not easy to see, is it? You come out of the zigzag passage, and we'll be in a setup where you have a corridor that has pits, or in this case actually has holes. You don't want to go down those. If we look around here, here we go. So you go through the zigzag corridor, you jump over the hole, you can go through that room, or we can come this way. The basic idea is there's this zigzag shaped path, and you'll see the same kind of skull that we saw before. Click on that and it will move, and that opens the trapdoor. So it is very, very similar. It's just you have to go a little bit further than in the previous example, and then the rest is exactly the same. Climb up out of the hole. Head back out to the main corridor at the edge of the block, up the big slope, back to the T-shape. Here we go. And we can see, if we look down, if we fall down, the trapdoor is opened, and this time, interestingly enough, the trapdoor appears to have closed inwards into the section. Open the locked door. Mind the pixel nudity. Oh, we have a ring, and we have some treasure. So that is the variation on our first theme. And now for the next setup. This is my favorite one, by which I mean the one I hate the most. This is I'm going to call it the two shafts problem, which most people will probably encounter because of the main quest to get rid of the werewolf. But this setup does appear from time to time, and it's more or less consistent. Well, let's have a look back up here. I'm pretty sure I need that lantern. You're telling me I have no oil. I hate you. So you'll know when you're in this pickle if you find this bizarre internal barn farmyard, a little pig pen, and this strange fake door which appears to be sunk into the floor. It's purely decorative there to annoy you. Anyway, there may or may not be a little spindly thing here. If there is, all it does is control this portcullis. I'm pretty sure that normally that portcullis isn't there. You come down the slope, come around the bend, and then this is where you know for sure that you're in this setup. We have two switches. Now, this first switch in the middle controls this elevator. So if we go to the map, we can see how this setup works. So here's the first switch, the central switch. Here's the second switch in the corner, and here's the elevator. So you hit this central switch, this elevator will go down to this level. Now I'm just going to cheat and teleport down to this section, like that. You can see here that the platform is at the bottom. Now, around the corner there are two switches. The one on, now let's get this right, the one on the right. Okay, so the one on the left, all that does is it sends that back up there. The one on the right, yeah, controls that platform. So what we're looking at now is from the section we were before with the two switches. This platform comes down to this little section here, and now you can see we have one large shaft, and over here is another shaft, but our way forward is blocked by this wall. let's just hit that switch on the right. Get rid of that. Because what you can do if you have good climbing skills or a way to levitate is you can simply come around the bottom, gain access to this shaft. But what we really need to do is get into this central section, which is blocked. Now, what you need to do to open here is back up top, the second, here we go, the second switch. Yeah, this was the central switch. The second switch in the at the end of the corridor. And I'll just teleport back down to here. We can see now, and you probably didn't catch that, but essentially, oh hello. On the map, it shows its initial location. So this door, wall, blocking thing, whatever you want to call it, what it's done is it's moved back to where? Yeah, it's moved back to here, to the other side of the second shaft. Now then, we look at the top. Normally there'll be a covering, a grill or something to stop you accessing the top. What you need to do is come up these stairs in the middle. There's normally something to kill, and there are two spindles. I don't exactly know if you have to do both of them or not. I always hit both of them. I should really confirm that, I guess, but I'm not going to do that now because it seems to work fine. Maybe one is fine, or maybe, but I always hit both, so I recommend to hit both. And then what that will do is it will open the top. That's those ambient noises. It will open the top. So now, again, if we had levitate, we could just levitate up. If you don't, then you're going to have to be a really good climber. I don't know of any. Sometimes there's decoration or scenery that you can touch, and it will give you a levitation effect spell. I'm not aware of anything that works in this particular configuration. Anyway, when you get to the top, let's just teleport to the top now. Here we go. I've already. You can see here. This is the horizontal portcullis that you need to open. Interestingly, if you hit that chain, it will give you a slow fall effect. So this is the werewolf main quest, which means there's the old werewolf. He was in here, so this was the quest location. In a generic dungeon, this can also be a quest location if you have to kill something. What does that do? That controls the portcullis. Okay. And the other thing to be aware of from this room is that there's a secret door here, which contains... Hello? I think that was just ambient noise. Which doesn't contain anything. But again, in a generic dungeon, sometimes I think you can find a quest item in that secret room. We also have here a lever, and again, this lever is not always present, at least not always in this location. But this lever essentially repeats the function of the second one down here that we went before. Because if we go back down to the central section, there's this little passageway, which at the moment this wall here is blocking here. Well, what actually happens with these switches is that these two sections move. So you can see here there's a little box. This is also in generic dungeons a possible quest item location behind this box. But of course at the moment we can't get to that because the wall is here. And what happens is this second switch here, and I'm pretty sure is also, this switch does the same thing. We'll try in a moment. And hopefully, I don't know how clear this will be, but if you can see this bit of moving wall here and this bit of moving wall here, when you hit either of those switches, both of these move and it toggles the position. So this bit of wall here will move all the way up and press up against the box, and this bit here will move all the way across and block off this passage entirely. So that's how it is now. If we teleport down to in the middle, we can see that's how it is. We can't get in there. So let's teleport into this section, and we can see indeed it's right up against the box, which means if we teleport in the middle, you can see here the two bits of wall, we're now trapped in the middle. Now if we go back to the very top and hit the switch, and maybe we can even see it all working in real time. No, I'm not sure. We just let's see, teleport in behind the box. There we go. You can see both walls have moved to their original positions. So now again, we could teleport. Yeah, we could teleport here in between. We can see indeed this central section is now essentially locked off. And if we teleport back to here, to this initial platform, it's closed. So that is indeed how that works. The two switches toggle both of these walls backwards and forwards. Fun times is that indeed. And that is it for that bit. Good lord. This is a very quick one. It doesn't really... It's not as significant as the other things on the list. But essentially, it might come in handy. And I think I've been befuddled by this in the past. So the setup is essentially this slope that goes up to nothing. And there's a torch on the wall. And this torch is one of the activatable ones. You do that, and lo and behold, the passage is now open. The reason why this is important is because this way, I think, is a possible quest location, and I did not want to be fighting scorpions. Yeah, this corner has a secret door. Perfect. And then there's nothing in that room, but yeah, this treasure pile represents a possible quest item location. So if you ever find yourself going up a long slope, turning a corner, and finding yourself at this junction with this torch, it is an instantaneous change, this. Interesting. Anyway, so that's that one. And the final one for this video is going to be opening this trapdoor. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's ever needed to go in here, so this is probably the least important one. And also, I think sometimes it will open if you just walk on it, but that's not the case now. You will find this room in the in the block that's I hate that noise of the door opening. You'll find this this room in the block that contains the very complicated teleport chain. Which they don't always behave exactly the same, but they're mostly the same. But yeah, what you need to do is just to keep following the teleporters. They're all pretty close to each other, and make sure, of course, that you don't leave the block, because all of the you can see the teleport connectors here. Of course, they're all in the same block, as they must be. They must have had fun when they made this one. Anyway, this, I believe, one of the teleporters will bring you into this tiny chamber that has a lever. And that lever is the one that opens the trapdoor. So, how do we get back? I forget what that little Napoleon does, but you have to touch him. Officer. Yeah. Madness. Then you have to jump on the left chair. No, the right chair. You have to do something near that torch. It will trigger a spell, and that will move the curtain. And we are back at the beginning. Superb. But this brings us to the trapdoor room, and behold, the trapdoor is open. Of course, we have a very stubborn locked door. Sometimes this section can be flooded. Ah, come on. Of course it's a skeleton. Well, as you can see in this case, there's absolutely sweet FA here. So, I mean, you would imagine that having a setup like that, they would spawn a quest of something down there. But I'm not sure that it ever happens. This looks like another... Yeah, that's going into an outer block. Anyway, so that concludes that, basically. Not very much, and take care, stay safe, adios.